This is the Fix It Show. And with us in the studio today, if you will, let's let Tim do that.
Yeah, we'll let Tim do that.
Yeah, here we go.
This way here he can wake up early.
We have Tim with us also. If y'all are here an hour ahead of time waiting for collage, Tim is here with us. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk to Dale Clancy, and we're going to talk about we're doing a series here on Pulaski Tech, and we're going through the different trades that are available at Pulaski Tech. And today, Dale is going to talk to us about CDLs and the different CDLs and answer your questions. By the way, if you have a question on anything else pertaining to your house or your 18-wheeler, he can answer all these questions about 18-wheelers too.
Okay. And just if you want to tie this into the Fix It program, we're pushing Votecular?
Sounds good to me. I realize Supreme Commander is going to send you a nasty text.
Be careful. This is a guy show here.
This is a guy show. No, it's not. We're pushing the trades, whether it's HVAC, electrical, plumbing, construction, and also moving stuff around, because our economy is so dependent on moving our commerce around. And so we're going to talk about CDLs today. Go ahead and introduce our guest here, Tim.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have anything in particular to say this morning. Didn't expect to be on the air because it's really it's
you're just
Dale's moment in the sun here. But Dale Clancy is our lead instructor in the CDL program at UA-Pulaski Tech. If you're curious about anything related to the college, you can go on the website at UA-PTC.edu, and if you go through the academics part of the links on there, you can find all of our technical programs, including the CDL program. And we do have a Transportation Technology Center at the Little Rock South campus, the one you can see out there on I-30, and it's the culinary school is there, but that ain't the whole thing. We've got a whole lot more. And the entire backside of the house there of a very large building is dedicated to transportation technology, including Dale's program.
So in other words, while they're taking a break from class, I can go over and learn how to bake a cake.
I suppose theoretically.
Sounds good to me. Either that or make some good gumbo.
Well, Dale, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay. So I've got some questions there. I mean, we're into this era right now of transportation where we've got so much of a need out there for drivers right now. And of course, this is pre-driverless trucks, which I can't wait to get on the freeway with those. Okay.
It's a long ways off.
They're working on driverless cars and not doing real good with that right now, but they're working on technology. They're talking about driverless trucks. When we're talking about truck driving, and we discussed this in the green room earlier, I went old school, way back in the old school, and it was a cab over white Freightliner with a 318 and a double stick transmission. Now, double stick transmission, for those of you who don't know what this is a clutch type standard transmission that has actually two transmissions. You put the first one in first gear and you put the second one in first gear, and then you go through the gears in the second one. Is that right? Is that the old?
I'm not exactly sure because
You're
I
not
started
that old.
around 2000. Yeah.
Oh, well, I am 70 years old this year. So anyway, put the first one in first gear, second one you shift it through the 4 gears there, 5 gears there, whichever it was, and then you take it out of gear. You go to the first stick and you put it in second gear and you run through it again. And that's because the vehicles back then didn't have the horsepower that they have today. And so we had that, and we didn't have power steering. We had this giant steering wheel there, and that thing was, but we didn't have radial tires. And radial tires makes a difference there also. It was shoulder stuff there. And so you didn't see very many women in there now. Now we have these smaller steering wheels, really, really high-tech power steering on these things that keeps the trucks so flat straight in the road. If that thing's wiggling, you know somebody's up there pouring coffee, right?
There you go.
So tell us, if you would.
Well, I think the first question I want to ask is, please tell the difference between a CDL and a regular driver's license, and why does it matter?
Oh, you want to go to the start?
You're
starting with that.
Why do you want a CDL, and what is the difference?
Okay, CDL stands for Commercial Driver's License. So you're pretty much a professional driver at that point. So there is a higher standard. You have to meet medical requirements, and that every 2 years. Some people, it's a 1-year medical certificate, depending on whether you have high blood pressure or not. But certain things you have to keep up. In fact, I'm due for a physical next month. My 2-year will come up. If I don't do that, then I will lose my CDL. It becomes a regular driver's license again, and I'd have to go through and do everything. So you want to keep that up. Then you fall under the federal regulations. That's who is in charge of CDLs, is the FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, which is kind of like OSHA for transportation.
You love OSHA.
Yeah, you know, they love me.
A lot of the same regulations. So you have to meet and stay up with all of that stuff. You may be subject to a roadside inspection. You've probably seen a lot of trucks pulled over on the side of the road. That's probably what they're doing, is an inspection on there. You're responsible for all of that. Anything that happens when you're driving your car goes against your CDL, because that's your driver's license. Anything
same way with pilots.
Yeah, same type of thing.
Yep.
So you want to make sure that you don't have too many points on your license, because if you do, you're not going to be able to drive for anybody. So it's just a higher standard, basically.
Okay. And you said there's 3 different types, A, B, and a C?
Yes, and that would be the class of vehicle that you would do. A C, you could do a passenger vehicle up, I think it's up to 17 passengers or something like that. After that, it goes by weight. 26,000 pounds and 2601, you need a Class B CDL in order to drive that vehicle. If you're going to tow more than 10,000 pounds, you need a Class A CDL. So that's basically what it is. The weight only matters for B or C.
Okay.
After that, it's how much you tow, whether you're going to need a Class A. And a Class A is basically a combination of vehicles. That trailer and the tractor. That's
okay, so a semi-rig is towing. That's why it has to be a Type A.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there any higher classification for heavy haulers or
no
for wide loads?
No.
Really? Okay.
Class A.
You just got to be smart enough to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Well, there is a hazmat.
Yeah, there's endorsements. Like for tanker, you would have to get an endorsement to run a tanker.
Okay.
But it's not a separate license. It would be an endorsement on top of it.
It's like a trout
hazmat
stamp.
endorsement that you would get.
Okay.
Same type of thing.
Yeah.
But as far as heavy haul, there's no endorsement for a heavy haul or for oversize. You just need permits that you get for each load that you run. Yeah.
Okay. We understand that. Okay.
And a lot of these oversized loads, they can only run during daylight hours. So that's why you see them
Right.
pulling
Pulled
off
off the
and
side of the
parking,
road
yeah.
there, daylight hours, and they can't run through town during.
Rush hour
Rush
and things
hour,
like
thank
that.
you.
And a lot of hazmat loads, you can't actually go through town either. You have to
We've seen the
loops around
signs.
the
Mm-hmm.
town.
Yeah, hazmat
Oh, yeah.
take the bypass.
Well, I have seen times that it took an oversized load a day, a full 8-hour day that he was driving just to go past, just to come off the freeway, because he had to get off the freeway because the bridge was a little bit small. And they had 12 by 12s out there that they built a ramp for him to go around. He'd come up 10 feet, get out, they'd restage, another 10 feet, they'd restage, another 10 feet, they'd restage. He'd go across the street, another 10 feet to restage, another 10 feet to restage, another 10 feet to restage,
Okay, we
to get
got
back
that.
on the
We got
on-ramp.
Okay.
And that was an 8-hour day that he was driving.
Yep,
All right,
I
so-
can understand that.
And you're about to have a fall start. You said new regulations coming in. What's the new regulation?
Yeah, new regulations for the testing. We're no longer doing the 90-degree or the regular offset. What we have now is called a bumper stop, where we pull forward and they have to stop their bumper within a 3-foot box and make sure that it stays in there. After that, they do their straight back. That's a 100-foot straight back. Then they're going to pull forward and do an offset pull to the left, and they have to make sure that their tires don't hit the cone and stay between two lines that they have there.
Okay.
And after that, then they do a blindside parallel park.
Okay, I got to ask this, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for it, but are there special consideration for swift drivers?
Oh, that takes me back to the 80s.
And it shouldn't be, but if you're on Facebook, as I am, the American Trucker has a Facebook site there, and they take pictures of all these vehicles that have made these terrible mistakes, and I don't know if they do it or not, but they seem to think that swift drivers have. As a matter of fact,
They're on bonehead truckers more than anybody else.
that's it. I'm afraid so. Yeah, had to ask that.
Well, I saw one truck that didn't bind his load right. He's pulling coils, and the coil ended up in his sleeper.
I have a question. Is the truck driver that's in the seat ultimately responsible for the load, even though he's just a?
Absolutely, he's responsible.
Absolutely.
So even
That's
though he
right.
doesn't load the truck or do anything, he's got to go back and make sure
I
it's
mean,
there.
if he
That's
hooks up
correct.
to that thing, it's his.
Okay.
And if he doesn't like the way it's loaded, it's up to him to make them do it right. If they're not going
Right.
to do it, I wouldn't take the load
I wouldn't
because I'm
take it.
responsible for that
Oh,
load.
That's
wow.
right.
Yeah.
That is
that's
a
it.
fact. And,
Yeah, you get one that says sealed on
'cause
yard.
when you get to your destination with that thing,
Yeah.
they're not going to ask you who loaded the thing.
That's your fault. That's right.
It is your fault, and whoever loaded it is going to say it's his fault.
Because he drove it.
Isn't that right?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
There are exceptions because if
Okay.
you can see it's forklift damage or something, then
Well, I've had that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I used to get the loads of lights on my construction jobs, and I would have to go through each pallet and figure out, if we had some broken and not. And drivers don't like to stand around. They don't like for you to count lights and stuff like that. So
I guess there's two different types of driver. There is a contract driver and a by the mile driver.
well, you could still be a contract driver and drive by the mile too, but most of the over-the-road trucking is by the mile.
It is okay. That's
Yeah,
how they're paid.
over-the-road trucking. But
So
you
if they're
could-
sitting in a parking lot somewhere, they're not getting paid.
No.
that's correct.
And if they're driving through town, they're
No,
not.
I was an
What do you mean driving
owner-operator and had my own trailer and my own authority for like 10, 11 years. And what I got was a pay for that trip.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, it was based on so much per mile, but nevertheless, that was my pay for that trip. And whatever I spent on fuel and maintenance and all of that
Came off the top.
came off the top of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
So-
and
so-
if you're lucky, you've got a good truck and it doesn't break down in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so an
And the guy that
owner-operator
they
might
send-
be operating under a different thing, but it's still based on miles. It
It's all,
really
it's all
is.
based on miles.
Yeah.
All right.
Now,
All that in terrain.
and I've heard that they don't pay through town. It's to the town and from the other side.
Yeah, usually it's from town to town. There are some companies that pay what they call hub miles, which is the actual miles that you drove.
Oh, on the little
Yes.
hub on the trailer, not
That's
on the
correct.
truck. Yeah,
Yeah.
They go with the. They have a mile indicator if you've ever
Well, plus
driven up
the
beside
systems they have on the truck now, they can tell you exactly where you're at anytime, and they know the route you took. They know how many miles you went.
Okay, these funny little cameras without lenses that hang over the freeway there by the way stations.
Goes
You
for
know,
pass
That's
ideas.
your speed pass.
Well, okay, and we want to explain that to folks that see
okay.
those and don't really know what they are. This giant arm that comes out there, and it looks like a traffic light with no lights on it. But what that is just
They call it pre-pass.
it's a pre-pass.
Yeah.
Okay, and that if you get registered where you start driving from, is that right? You gotta log in there and you go through those pre-pass points and
Well, actually, you don't. You have a little device in your truck that it picks up,
right.
and what happens is it's registered to your truck and to that company.
Okay.
It takes a photo and says, "Okay, that's Swift.
Okay.
Did that device in the truck, is that registered to Swift or is it not?"
Okay.
And they can do all of that stuff, and then it'll tell you pull in or you can keep going.
Okay.
Because there is also sensors in this road. They've weighed you while you're moving.
They
Really?
weigh you while you're moving.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Weigh in motion, they call it. So
Okay.
that they've already weighed you, and they know how much you weigh, at least pretty close.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I knew they had that in they have scales there by the little doghouse out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then they do, because that'll get you a more accurate weight because you're actually stationary.
Stopped. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But
Now-
they can tell you pretty close, hey, this guy's good, or he's overweight. I'm going to pull him in. So that happens before you even get to where you got to pull off.
yeah.
Okay. And so, what is the overall need right now for CDL drivers?
Well, it's interesting because with the economy the way it is, it's kind of slowed a little bit. But
Finally, slowed a little bit.
but the thing is, people got to eat.
Right.
And that's what I did. I hauled refrigerated foods. I did mostly chicken going out west and produce coming back here.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's it. The same thing that you did.
We had a special name for those lettuce loads.
Lettuce load, yeah.
Started with a G.
But it is a good time to be in the industry. You can make really, really good money. I mean,
Right.
more than a 4-year degree, and it's only 8 weeks.
And
you're
is it
started.
8-week course for the Class B and Class C?
The same, yeah.
Same
course.
one there.
yeah.
Okay, same course. And do they teach you how to set your brakes?
Yes.
See there? And it's one of those weird things that truck drivers have to learn. You've got to know how
Pull
to
the
set.
knob.
No, this is crawl under it with
Yeah.
a measuring tape
Yeah.
and a
Oh, you're
wrench.
talking about that. I'm talking about adjusting the brakes.
Yeah, the adjusting the brakes.
We inspect them. We don't actually adjust them. I show them how we can do it. But,
Okay.
But we don't. That's not part
I
of
mean,
our test.
owner-operators don't do that?
No. Well, yes, owner-operator does.
Yeah, if you're going to be an owner-operator, you got to know how to set those
How
brakes.
much does the average rig goes? I'm not talking about top of the line. I'm talking about just I want to go cross country and I want to buy my own rig. What is the starting rate?
Are you going to be new or used?
Well,
Used.
He's going to be used.
I'll
'cause
be
I know
used.
him.
So
Yeah, probably around 80,000.
Yeah,
for how many
Yeah.
miles? Like 1,000,000 miles, or
No, that would be about 300,000 miles.
well, that's not even broke in yet.
That's correct.
right.
But
And we're talking about they don't sell just a truck off of the street. It's reconditioned. They go through those things from, bumper to tail lights there because they don't have back bumper.
Yeah, all of the big fleets, they run them about 400,000 miles, then they sell them.
Really?
Right.
Yeah,
Just so they don't have maintenance?
yeah,
Yeah.
It has all has to do with
Maintenance will kill you out there.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
road. It's really
Is it
tough
worth
on them
buying a used one and not having the maintenance for that?
It is if you're just one guy and you're wanting to get started and see how to go and how if you like the business or not and all of that, it's a good way to go. Because I had actually purchased 3 trucks in my 11 years, and all of them had over 1 million miles when I got rid of them.
Yeah.
yeah,
And still going strong.
and still sell them to
Yeah.
folks. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of million-mile trucks become dump trucks because dump trucks are short hauls, and you don't. I mean, if you
Yeah.
do break down, you're close to home. You know, so they convert those in there.
either that or we'll put them into day cabs. A lot of places.
Right.
And now,
Right, and it's local freight, local hauling.
delivery day cabs. Which means sometimes they shorten the frames on them
All right.
so that they can get around tight turns.
We're about 5 minutes from our bottom of the hour, but we're just, I
You're
want to get
kidding.
started. Yes. So I want to get into this. I'm a kid. I just graduated high school. College is not for me. I don't see myself going for 4 years. I don't even see myself going for 2 years. And I come to you. What is the first thing that happens?
Okay, well, basically, they would have to go get their CDL Class A permit,
Okay.
and that they give you a little booklet. You study that. You take your 3 tests: your general knowledge test, your air brake test, and your combination vehicle test. Once you do that, you get what they call a CDL learner's permit, Class A. Now you're able to drive our trucks and work in our trucks and do that.
As long as you're with them.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. And then they're going to learn how to be a professional truck driver. They're going to learn how to inspect that vehicle. What do you look at? What are the things that are going to go wrong? Safety things. How to be a safe driver. How to follow. How to manage your space when you're driving down the road. These types. How to take care of yourself. How to manage your time. How to manage your money.
That's the biggie. Hang on.
Yes.
I want to get into that. We're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to do this little quick break here, but let's see what this is.
Fox. For more than 100 years, American Humane has been helping our best friends in their worst times. During hurricanes, tornadoes, and increasingly, wildfires. They're real heroes to these animals. But Mother Nature isn't the only danger that animals face. Sometimes it's human nature that's the greatest threat. Each year, more than 6 million beautiful adoptable animals are being abandoned, and more than 1 million are euthanized before they can be rescued. These animals need heroes too. Heroes to open up their hearts and homes and to give them the love they deserve. Be a hero to an animal in need. Consider becoming an American Humane Rescue volunteer or adopt from your local shelter. Visit AmericanHumane.org to find out how you can be a hero and help our best friends in their worst times.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much acetaminophen can damage your liver. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
And we're back. Okay, sorry to stop you there, but I really want to get into this.
Okay, can I break in here for just a second?
It is your show.
This is KABF Radio 88.3. and we are the Fix It Show. And we are, for those of you who broke in late on us, we are talking to Dale Clancy. He's with Pulaski Tech, and then we're talking about CDLs, and we're talking about, this is our tech school series here. For those of you who, like myself, I mean, I had my college paid for, and I graduated in 2 semesters. Because that's all I needed.
They took your military experience, huh?
Well, I strapped on a nail belt and started framing houses and loved every bit of it. And, you know, just when you love what you do, and this is for people who love the open road. Then my wife will tell you right now, I love getting out on the road. I mean, we just we have a motor.
He drives
home.
a tank, by the way.
Well,
well, the tank up in Conway is for sale now. If you hadn't heard,
No, I mean he actually has a Class A.
this is an Abrams.
well, it is. It's called a Class A motorhome, but it's because it's on a bus, you know, on a
Bus chassis.
Greyhound bus chassis, you know. It's just a 2-axle, you know, but it's got a diesel pusher, and it's. But I don't have to have a CDL for that yet. Right?
Yet.
Exactly. They're working on that.
I actually thought you did it one time. Is it some states do and some states don't?
What I have is, if you look on my DD 214, if you can get my driver's license out of there, I have bus on my Army driver's license, and I drove a fuel truck, which is a 5,000 gallon tanker. For the Army, so that's, you know.
That was your Class A
I got
there.
a little bit more experience in just that.
B.
That's a Class B.
Because he's not hauling over
5,000 gallon
2,000
tanker
pounds.
is Class B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a single vehicle. You don't have a trailer that you're pulling.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's
So
that's the
I
difference.
would have to go for a Class B, but it wouldn't matter because the price of Class ABC as far as renewing every year, is that any difference or?
It's around $50 some or whatever, but
it's $50
it's
a
a
year.
4-year license, so it's every 4 years.
It's okay. So it's that's tough on you. $12 a year. I mean that's $12.50 a year. That's going to hurt your budget.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay. Wait a minute. Let's talk economics here. What about insurance? If you have a CDL,
Now
is your
that's-
regular insurance more for driving your car?
No.
No, it's probably less because
Very possibly it would be the same. They're going to treat your personal vehicle insurance companies the same
okay.
as you would. Now, I've had a good safety record, so my insurance is pretty low for our vehicles. But and then, of course, they prorate it by how many miles you drive your vehicle and all of that. So that part of it isn't different. But on the commercial side, there's a big difference.
Okay. So if you're long hauling and you're going to do, what is the average year? 100,000 a year, maybe 150?
About 100,000 a year.
100,000?
Yes.
What kind of rates are we talking there? I know you don't know specifics, but I'm just in general.
Well,
double?
that depends now if you're talking about just your truck or if a truck and trailer and your cargo
you-
also. So it's
wait a
about
minute.
$15,000 a year.
$15,000 a year for just the truck?
No, the truck, the trailer, the cargo, the liability, and everything that you
Okay, that's
do
not as
need.
bad as I thought it would be.
That's because I have a good record. It can get up to 20.
Wow.
And then after that, you don't get it anymore.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
won't write you.
Now, economics, trying to keep these kids, I assume that most of your clientele is kids. You might have a lot of people doing career changes in your
Yes.
a lot of those. How do you keep them from going bankrupt the first year?
Well, again, what I tell them is to learn the business first. Work for one of those larger companies or work for a company. Talk
And they'll
to
hire
other
you
drivers.
if you get a CDL. They'll hire you right out of this.
They
class.
will.
Okay.
And they'll give you the training that you need. Okay? Yeah, we give them the basics and all of that, but You can't teach years of experience in 8 weeks or even
No.
10 weeks. It's going to take years, and they'll work with. You're going to be with a trainer probably for 6 to 8 weeks. Once you do that, then they'll give you your own truck, and they're going to teach you how to do the log, how to manage your time, and really hone that in. And then you talk to other truck drivers and see what they like, what they don't, and after that, if they decide they like it, then they start looking for a truck.
Do you train about tire inspection and all that? You teach all
Yes.
that? Okay.
That's part
They
of our
still thump
pre-trip.
the tires with a
Well, you can, but that isn't the way we teach
Yeah.
it for a pre-trip.
Not
It's a
anymore.
tire gauge.
Yeah.
Because you
Okay.
need to know, is it 100, 110 PSI?
Is that what those tires carry?
Yes.
Wow, that's no wonder they explode.
Exactly.
Well, now the
They
thing
can
is, though, you get a leak in
decapitate
one of them, and it starts going down, and then all of a sudden you hear that bang. It's not the low tire; it's the tire that didn't have the leak, and you're sitting there running one without. So that's why
I've
when
seen
you
that,
started,
yeah.
yeah,
I've seen one guy had both his tires gone, and the hub was on the ground so long it took off
flattened it
about
out.
a third of it. And he was shooting sparks everywhere.
Oh.
But he was, I guess, a little bit tired.
I picked.
Shouldn't be moving that truck.
That's, he was.
Well, okay, let's.
He didn't want to stop. He said, "I think I can make it to the truck stop up
All right,
here."
you mentioned that you hauled refrigerated.
Yes.
But if someone's driving cross country, you got to pay for the fuel to keep that auxiliary
is
power unit
correct.
going.
And those refrigerated trailers have their own fuel tank.
They do.
Yes.
50 gallons
They
usually.
have their own diesel motor up in there, and it's all self-contained. So for 70, maybe 50 to 75 gallons of fuel that you put in, probably run for 2 weeks a lot of times,
And that's what
depending upon how you have it set.
And that's what the big green light is that you see on the side of those things. Because if it ever goes red, you really
You're in
need
trouble.
to find someplace that
Yeah,
stops
something
real
wrong.
quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, or if you're loading lettuce, it's really wet, and it takes 4 defrost cycles to get it back to cooling. So, oh yeah, it's
Because of the water content.
water content freezes up there in the coil, and you've got to turn it over there until it defrosts, till it defrosts, till it defrosts, till it defrosts, till you can actually get some airflow.
Of course, the new ones do it automatically now because they know.
Since yeah.
Well, I'm not getting the airflow through there,
all
so
digital.
defrost.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got that.
Either that, or you pulled over on the side because you got your red light, and the DOT man comes up behind you, and he sees you up there between the cab and the trailer. What are you doing? I'm lighting the reefer. Next thing you know, there's dogs all through your truck because it's a new kid, doesn't realize
Don't
it.
want to talk about lighting a reefer on the side of the road.
Well, no, that's. He can tell you that's what it was. We had to light off the reefer on some of those old Ks.
Yes.
And
We're childs of the 70s. We don't want to
well,
talk
in the 60s, yeah, but there's that.
Okay, so what are other hidden costs that someone might not be? I understand breaking down is huge. Tires, we just replaced 2 tires over at Looney's, and it was $1,100.
Yes, tires are that's probably the second most or highest expense that you would have as
What's
an
the
owner
most?
operator. Fuel,
Fuel.
Yeah.
Fuel's more than tires?
pretty much.
Why is
Fuel
diesel?
and tires is pretty close to even.
Okay, I have this is stupid, and I don't know this. I don't. I should. But diesel has less refinement in it than gasoline.
Right.
Why does it cost so much more?
Because they can.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's because they can. It used to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Now the diesel that the trucks buy has the taxes put in there too.
Well, I get
Highway
that.
tax and
No,
all of
that's-
that stuff, and that's
It's incredible
Quite a bit.
how much of that is in taxes.
Not
Because there's-
$4 a gallon worth.
Well, They've also got to take it down to zero sulfur.
Well, let's
Used to,
find it.
back in the 80s, we had
But they have
sulfur fuel.
filters for that. They actually have a chemical additive that actually does that now.
Well, have you ever gone through Pasadena and smelled the air and watched all that stuff come out of the refineries, the molten sulfur?
No, I don't
Okay.
think I haven't.
Whoops.
So I assume all trucks have emission controls now.
Yes, they do, and that's the last truck that I bought cost me a lot more money in maintenance because of that. When you plug up the tailpipe, you're going to have a lot of problems. That's really basically what a DPF does.
Okay.
It's a filter, and it filters out all the soot. And then it gets plugged up, and you have to do what they call a regen, which burns that soot off and turns it to ash, and it sits down in the bottom. And all of that whole system is rather involved, but that's what I had most of the trouble with.
Wow.
So,
All right. So anything you want to cover that we haven't yet?
well, that's, up to you. I just know that the first day when my students come in, I tell them, if you want to succeed in this business, there's 3 P's. Patience, you got to be patient. You can't let somebody get to you. If they flip you off or cut in front of you, you got to let it roll off your back. You got to be patient. Don't get in a hurry, because that's just going to cause you more problems. Second is pride. Take pride in what you do. Okay, maybe he parks crooked, or not you. You're going to park straight. You're going to follow the rules, do things right. And the third is professionalism. If you do those first 2, you're going to be a professional.
Yeah.
And just be aware that it reflects upon you. So the 3 P's is what I hit them with, and I found that that's what caused me to be a bigger success than I would have been had I not been that way.
Okay. Do you have any special licensings to teach, or can any CDL person teach?
Well, pretty much they've got to have at least 5 years of driving experience before they would be a teacher. But then after that, they have to have the class of license that they're going to teach. So if they're going to be teaching Class A, they have to have a Class A. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Now, something else you might want to consider when you get out there, if you're married, or are you single?
Yeah.
Because you could, I know a couple guys that when they started up with me back in mid 80s, that one guy walked out of his apartment, put his stuff in there, and the sleeper was his house for the next 3 years. And
We really can't do that anymore. I don't think
You
you can do
can't.
that.
Why
'Cause
not?
I think you have to have 10 hours off or so many.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
that's what
but
the sleeper's
you
for.
sleep in the truck. Yeah. It's like a camper.
Right.
Okay, so you can live in your truck.
I
Yeah.
did, yes, for many years.
there's a
Yeah.
young lady over in Sherwood right now that raised 3 kids in her sleeper.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see what you've got in there. I had a refrigerator, freezer in there, a microwave, an electric skillet. I had everything I needed. TV, all of that.
antenna going up.
It was home on wheels.
So
Okay.
you just use the showers at the rent a showers at the truck stop.
That's
Yeah.
correct. You
And then
buy
the rest
fuel, you get a free shower. So
Well, yeah. How much do those double tanks hold? Like 300 and 400 gallons, or?
well, it depends on the size of the tank, but mine, I usually get about 150 gallons between the two.
150 gallons. So you have them on
But
both
some
sides.
of them, yeah, and some of them will run a little bit over, like 200, 225.
That's the
Between
real
the
old
two
cross
tanks,
country guys there.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really don't like to stop.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So
have
now-
100 gallons on mine.
Let's talk rules just for. I know we're getting up close to the end, but rules. How far can you go without taking a break?
Okay, the way it is now, you have to take a half-hour break within your first 8 hours of being on duty.
Okay, so it's a lunch.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So you have to do that. Other than that,
Then you get
You
2
don't
more
have to
hours you
stop.
can drive, and you got to go to the
But
house.
after 8 hours, you have to park it somewhere for 10, isn't it?
No.
no. I can drive up to 11 hours a day
Okay.
if I need to.
All right.
But we teach the students how to manage their time to where they don't run out of hours so they can drive every day.
Oh, so it's per week.
Well, it's
80 hours a week used to be.
It's 70 hours in 8 days.
Okay, and
I can be on duty 70 hours in 8 days.
And here's what you have to budget your trip, because you don't want to go through Dallas at rush hour.
That's also true.
There's no such thing as rush hour in Dallas. I'm sorry.
And that's part of trip planning, which is something that we teach also.
Okay, and it's sometimes you have to leave your house at 4 o'clock in the morning because you know you're going to be hitting Nashville at 4 o'clock or something, and you know you don't want to do that. So there's and do you? That's something that they learn from the companies that they go to. The older
Pretty
drivers
much.
there will teach them
That's
where
correct.
not to go, and you know if you're in Louisiana, take your teeth out and tighten up your bra strap. This is not going to be good. Things like that.
Either that or
Only here, guys. Only here.
12. No, wait. It was 85, 86. Had a guy, he had to be down in Houston at 8 a.m. And he broke down the side of the road. He was going down, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, he broke down, called Kenworth. They'd come out, assessed, went back for a part, and were coming back. Had a kid in a convertible come up and ran right up under, you know, he was off the road. And that kid just put that little convertible right up on his DOT bar. The parents sued the driver and the company because the driver had spent 3 days at the house with his family and started out at 6 p.m., broke down there just north of Houston. And they said if he'd come on straight through, you know, instead of stopping there, the truck would not have been there for their son to come up there and run in the back end of it and decapitate.
That's Texas law there, and they're going to find the big guys. I mean,
Yeah,
sorry.
they'll sue the pockets.
You just can't believe the. If you want to see some bizarre settlements in Texas, Texas is where you go for the most.
Either there, you see those guys on those little minis. They'll come up there off the on-ramp, and they'll go right under the truck, the trailer, and come across.
Well, that's another thing that we teach too, is don't be a sitting duck. Because if you are at the side of the road, you know, even though people are driving, they're looking at you. They have a tendency to steer toward what they're looking
I
at.
thought that was true. I thought that's because I never could understand why anybody would hit something on the side of the road, but you see it on like Facebook on those little takeouts all the time.
Happens a lot.
Another thing that I see on Facebook a lot is losing a tire. Is that really a thing?
Yeah.
Yes. And that's
Really?
one of the reasons why I stress so
gotta
much
check it.
on that pre-trip inspection. Check those tires. Don't assume that they're okay. Check them.
Well, and some drivers will get that feel on there. And by the way, that's a Mansfield bumper you're talking about there. And the reason it's a Mansfield bumper is because Jane Mansfield and her family ran under a truck that didn't have one of those.
Yeah.
And it
Right.
killed them all. So then after that, the ICC, Interstate Commerce Commission,
Yeah.
which I was familiar with, came out with that bumper that all trailers have to have.
Yeah, and we call that now our DOT bumper.
It is a
right?
DOT bumper.
Yes.
Because nobody knows who
Right.
James
Mansfield
is.
is, yeah.
Yeah. We got one hand
Everybody
up.
in the room.
Hell,
Right.
or another one, talking about the scales. Now, I drove for 5 years running liquid bulk. And because of what I had, my clearances in the military, I got a couple loads that were nasty. And they kept me with nasties. But the number 4 down there in southern Mississippi, the mile marker there at the weigh station. I was coming through there one night with a liquid load, and the station master hit that. You know, you pull up, and that load is going to slosh, and it's going to push you forward. It's going to push you back. If you ever take off the first time and getting into it with a liquid load, you're going to be trying to go through the windshield when that hits the back of the trailer, because it's just bam.
I thought they did baffles now. They don't do baffles anymore?
Some of them. But, you know, you're talking about compartmented tanks there.
Yeah.
Usually. This was what they called a shotgun tank. It was one either 5,000 gallon to 8,000 gallon tank, depending on the density of the load. And she told me to stop that truck. So this was right after I got knocked back. And I put my foot on the brake like I knew I wasn't supposed to, and took that station out of the ground. Because when it hit that first, you know, that front end, it rocked that scale nasty.
I'm sure that made them happy. And by the way, if you're thinking about being a truck driver, these are things to not do.
Listen to us.
But, yeah.
Listen to things not to
Call
do.
this man and learn how to do it proper.
All right, so you got one coming up. Any other changes? You said the regulations are changing. They're not doing the list anymore, but they have a cheat sheet now? Is that what?
Yeah, you're going to have a sheet that you can take with you, and it has the parts that they want you to inspect on it, but it doesn't tell you what it is that you're supposed to inspect on those parts. You have to know where the parts are. You've got to point to them, touch them, and tell them what it is that you're looking for.
And this is like a pre-flight we do on aircraft.
Yeah.
And it's basically, as far as helicopters goes, they call it kick a tire, light a fire. But actually, a pre-flight is they have a book that they go through on aircraft, and there's so many things that you've got to look at, you've got to inspect, because if there's anything out of, that's when you catch it. Anything that's coming loose, anything, and you've got to know what to look for in that, because if you look at a wheel and it's just covered in ice, and you don't see a crack running between your lug nuts there, that's critical.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's covered in ice, you got in dirt and filth, and you know those things get really dirty in the wintertime. You got to be able to detect that that thing is going to fracture, and that's the ones that come off, and you see them run through buildings and crashing into cars and stuff. I don't know that we have that as bad here as they do like in India and places where they run these constant overloads on trucks that were never intended to. I mean, they just. I've seen. That's another YouTube thing that I watch, is how they rebuild them on the road.
Trucks on the road?
Oh, with the whole front axle's torn out from under them.
Really?
Yeah. They get out there and they jack this thing up, and some of them are leaning so bad that they have to jack the load over to jack it up. It's amazing. But that's, you know.
Yeah, that's not here in the United States.
We don't get to do that here. We get the heavy wreckers out of there, and they pick it up by both ends, and they move it off to somewhere so they can.
Either that or also check for, you know, the guys out there are also going to be checking for a little bit of rust coming out from around the lug nuts.
I do have a question.
Like
You mentioned that it was regulated by the federal government, but it's always the DOT, like the Arkansas DOT, that pulls people over.
Yes, but some of those are federal officers too.
Really?
Yes.
Even though that says state of Arkansas on their door?
Well, that's in Arkansas, which is a Fed out there too.
And they have all agreements with them because they get a lot of money from the federal government. But there's also federal DOT out here too.
Okay. Well, which would you rather be pulled over by, an Arkansas DOT or a federal DOT?
It wouldn't matter to me.
Because he's right.
He's right.
I mean, because he's done his inspection, he's got his logbooks up to date, and you're not cheating on this thing. It's the guys that are running the back roads.
I do have a story for you.
Yes.
Yeah, the outlaws.
Outlaws. I got a story for you. I had a driver come in to my yard, really angry, He's driving a fleet truck, so the truck belongs to the company, and he just got a ticket for the fire extinguisher wasn't buckled. The buckle was gone on the fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher was there, but he still got a ticket for it, and he was very angry about that. Is that real?
Yeah.
It is. It's supposed to be fastened and secured. Okay, but
they're going to get you for something.
That's not a moving violation ticket or something that's going to go against the CDL. It'll cost him a few points on his CSA score. But, if he's a good driver and everything, I mean, he should have noticed that anyway and say, hey, this fire extinguisher needs to be fastened.
Wow.
So
I just thought that was weird that he
they'll
get a
look
ticket.
for if they don't find, they'll find something if they really want to. Go to California with a brand new truck, they'll find something.
They will find they want to find something so they can justify that they pulled you over to check you out.
All right.
And if they find something like a fire extinguisher being unfastened, you got to say,
No,
good
there's
deal
different
there.
levels of when they pull you over to do an inspection. There's different levels of that, correct?
Yes, there is.
What are the different levels?
Well, there's actually 5 different levels or 6, but basically 3. You got your level 1, which is your driver. Level 2, driver and a walk around. Level 3, they're going to check your brakes. They're going to get underneath there. They're going to look at everything.
Yeah.
And when they say check brakes, it's to check the brake travel.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's,
See if you cammed over or anything.
If the thing is traveling too far, that
You're out of
means that
adjustment,
you're out of
yeah.
adjustment. And your brakes on those things need to be adjusted critically. And how do they check the travel on the new disc brakes?
That's a good question.
They have
Okay.
disc brakes on trucks now?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Europe is almost all disc brakes over there. They have shorter cabs and smaller trucks because they have narrower
Thinner
roads.
streets.
Because the push rod and everything is all internal, and you really
Right.
can't get to it.
You really can't check that, but I guess they're
Well, they're looking at
thickness of the
thickness of the
disc
pads,
and,
yeah.
Yeah,
thickness.
one of our trucks is all disc.
Wow. Even the trailer or just the truck?
Yes, the trailer.
Yeah,
too.
Trailer is disc
we have
too.
we have a brand new trailer. Yes.
And they can stop those things in nothing because they've got anti-lock on them now,
Yes.
which is so much better than lock and slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will, it brings them down in no time at all.
fascinating.
It's amazing what they've got.
All right, we get 7 minutes. Contact information.
Yes.
If
You get it.
so, if somebody wants to reach out, of course it's Pulaski County. And what is the Pulaski County website?
Plastic tech.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
UA-PTC.edu.
All right.
And phone number is 501-812-2892.
Oh yeah,
We'll give that again here in just a
got it
second.
going in there.
All right. So we covered who?
We have a crack admissions staff and financial aid available. There's a lot of convenience to the CDL program. It's not on a regular semester schedule, so you do have the advantage of being able to go for a shorter period of time to get the training that you need.
Yeah, we actually have 2 classes per semester. Because semester is like 16, 17 weeks, and we're 8. So we do 2 classes per semester.
Oh, okay. So you do it. All right.
Excellent.
All right. So we
Excellent.
covered how, who. Let's talk about who should do this. You mentioned that if your family is probably not a good long haul, but there's also short haul options.
Except,
There's local.
except that they get husband, wife, driver teams.
Well, I was just going to say now, if they want to retire, a husband and wife is the way to do
I've
it.
seen that happen.
Drive a team, they can see the country. They'll make over $100,000 a year, and they can stop wherever they want and see the country and just
Yeah.
live in that truck.
living in a truck,
Retire.
and I've seen folks and happy to do it too. And
But there is the local side of it too. You know, Cisco or Martin Brower or any of the
Mercer.
Benny Keith. You know, all of those food service you deliver to restaurants, unload there. Dump trucks. That's another one, and they're home every day.
concrete trucks.
Yeah,
Got to have
concrete
CDL. Lumber deliveries. You
Lumber
know,
deliveries,
got to have a CDL.
No, actually, no.
You got electric
Well,
brakes?
with the big trucks.
Yeah, we
I mean,
we
they
don't
have-
do ours is small.
Yeah.
Right,
piggybacks.
because you're
all
you're
in ones,
running,
no trailer.
Yeah, of course, they're running the 2-axle box trucks for y'all's, right? The
Well, they're not box. They're dumpers.
The dump beds on them. Yeah.
Yeah, but because they're under 26,000 tons,
There
they
you
don't
go.
have
You
to.
don't need that, right?
We buy those trucks just so,
Right.
so we don't have to do that. What I really want is what is called a spider on the back. Those we're going to have to upgrade.
Right, because
those,
then you'll be over.
over the limit. I want that so bad, but no. Not in the cards just yet. Oh, so if you're interested, please call 501-812-2892. And that's Pulaski County Technical College. That's out on 13,000 Interstate 30. That's here. Is that still Little Rock or is it?
It's Little Rock.
Little Rock,
It
yeah.
is Little Rock. Yeah, and
Just
all you have.
before Bryant.
Now, I'm going to ask one other weird question here. Do you have to have a CDL to run a yard dog?
What's a yard
No,
dog?
you do not.
Okay.
Okay.
A yard.
But if you take that yard dog out onto the street, then you do.
You get
Okay.
You get nailed
Oh,
there.
okay.
If
So
it's
yard
on
dogs
private
just
property,
moving around.
you don't
trailers.
need it.
Okay,
That's
that's
correct.
a trailer arranger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then triples allowed in Arkansas yet?
Doubles. I don't think triples.
Okay.
But that's the endorsement. It's a triples endorsement. So
It's a triples endorsement. What is
Yeah.
that?
That means you
So
can
you
pull
can
3
run-
trailers.
yeah, you can pull 2 trailers or 3 trailers.
Right. Okay. You
Now,
gotta
even though they don't allow triples in Arkansas, it's a triples endorsement that you get.
Okay.
And that's one thing
And we
both of
don't know
those you
why.
don't
It's
back
just-
up.
Yeah, we don't know why they do that. It's just that they don't want us to look like Australians.
Well, either that or Missouri.
Well,
I
in
mean,
Colorado, You
Wisconsin.
can pull triples.
Yeah.
Well,
Out west.
I've seen them up
yeah.
there in the mountains, and it just defies logic that they've got something.
But
that
it's
can
the federal government that controls all of the CDLs and the endorsements and all that. That's the reason it's
Yeah.
a triple, even though they don't allow triples in Arkansas.
And you go up
Okay,
to Wisconsin,
okay, I
you
got
see a
It's
bunch
like
of
getting
them,
Class A for
100,000
driving dump truck.
pound for the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we about out of time here.
We're about. We got
Got a minute and a half.
a minute and a half. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Tim, just
All
wait,
right.
wait patiently there.
Programming.
Tim
we're gonna,
is in the building. Oh, you knew that.
Yeah, Tim is in the building. Yes, all day. So next week you're going to do something, or
Yes, sir.
Coochie's going to do a longer
Right.
show. You're going to discuss that.
No problem.
All right.
Now, on the 22nd, we're going to get a little buggy
Oh, that-
and a little, well, okay, creepy crawly if you prefer.
and that's carpenters.
Carpenter, yeah, we're going to have the carpenters in here. The carpenter ants, the carpenter bees, the, you know, hey, it's a trade show, right?
Ex-carpenters.
And
Yeah, here
Current carpenters.
Ex-carpenters. So we're looking forward to that. So
that's
thank
on
you
the
so much.
22nd.
Again, if you're interested, is something you want to reach out? Again, Plastic Tech's got everything from cooking, as I know,
And-
to HVAC. We had in here a couple weeks ago. Maybe we'll get some plumbing, electrical in.
Well, plumbing, we didn't talk to Tim. See if I can hear. Hang on. Tim.
We'll drag in just as many folks from the technical side of the house as we can. Of course, the college does Associate of Arts curriculum, and for university transfer, and in some ways that's our bread and butter. But we've got a long history with the trades, and like to get folks from the welding program, advanced
yes.
manufacturing. We've got also a number of other transportation-related programs, and hope to get the folks from who do the auto body work and general transportation tech, automotive tech. Will
fields, right?
yes, it is.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. We're at the top of the hour, and this is KBF Radio 88.3, the voice of the people.
KABF, Community Radio 88.3, Little Rock.